imagine if everything that you've known, or the holders of wisdom and information that were supposed to kind of keep that or be the keepers of information kind of passed, then those who survived had to start over. The sun is not at its peak as much, figuratively and literally. So now you don't have access to much light.
Right, the knowledge, information.
Yes.
Codes.
Which I think our ancestors did. They knew how to tap into certain frequencies in nature and extract information. It's like the taitas or the shamans in Central America who tell you, oh, hey, you want to solve that problem? Take this plant.
Talk to the plants.
And you ask them, how do you know? The plants told me.
They're sentient beings.
And then here we are in the West laughing at them. It's like, no, they have access to information just like we do.
They're tapped into Mother Nature.
Yes, and we've all been there.
Welcome, everyone, to the Eons Ahead podcast. I'm your host, Alex Wolfe. And on the show, we like to have deep, intimate conversations with amazing human beings that are eons ahead. But what does it mean to be eons ahead? Well, it means they're ahead of their time. They see things other people don't see, and they're able to communicate these visions to the world, manifesting them into reality, making a positive impact for humanity. They're often doing things that other people are simply not doing. And I love that. They're trailblazers, they're pioneers, they're leaders in their space. And our guest today is all of the above. His name is Samson. Samson is truly a remarkable young man and an incredible human being. He's one of the most integral and embodied men that I've encountered on my journey here on this earth for the last 41 years. It's embodied not only physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but the way that he continuously shows up for his family and his community is bar none. He's incredibly well researched, and he's a master, or is mastering one of his modalities of breathwork. And he's worked with some of the biggest names in the space and has helped thousands of people. So we're going to get into that a bit today. Besides all that, he's a family man, he's a father, he's a devoted husband, and he's someone that I truly, truly admire deeply. He's a friend, he's a brother, and he's eons ahead. He's here today, Samson.
I think I need to have you I need to have that as a ringtone.
I got you.
Thank you so much, brother. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's all you.
Yeah.
We met over a couple years ago at the Empowered Brotherhood workouts. It was one of my first introductions to this amazing community that is here in Austin. We're so blessed with amazing community and men that are showing up, keep showing up. And that was the message that, you delivered.
That was the motto.
That was the motto over and over. And you really do keep showing up with integrity, with embodiment, with a grounded presence that is really, really rare. It's getting more normalized to be able to show up like this, partially by people like yourself that are, speaking up and speaking their truth, speaking truth in general. So what does it mean for you to keep showing up?
The first thing that comes to heart is it's not so much having my physical body there. It has to do with the fullness of who I am being present fully there. Because I have shown up. I've attended, but I have not really brought all of myself. And to show up, for me, it's evolved over time. I think a lot of it had to do with awareness at first and really getting to know who I am and then who I am in relationship to the collective or my community or other people. And really playing and dancing with the reflections that I was getting back that made me more aware of my inner workings, my inner world. And as I continue to unpack that and continue to unravel that, more of me comes forward because there is safety in connection to allow me to keep showing up. Now, the other side of that is, even though I may not be completely aware of what's to come, even though I may not necessarily know what's next in most regards, what I can do is bring myself
Mm.
to the moment.
Mhm.
And my experience has been that as long as I'm willing to just be where my feet are, and from that place, just take the next step by showing up,
Mm.
whatever is next reveals itself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love how you frame that. By being there, by being
Mm.
in yourself, being in
Yeah.
your body, it really starts with the being or the awareness
Yeah.
of the being.
Yeah.
And that creates a different energy that people can start to resonate because
Yeah.
it's shifting from thinking or
Yeah.
the doing.
Yeah.
I love that. And so as long as one continues to show up,
Mm.
to be human being, they are exuding this grounded presence that you have embodied,
Mm.
and I recognize that. And it's like it gives other people a sense
Yeah.
of what's there.
Yeah. You know, what I've learned, especially again, my own journey reflects what I speak about, and then just the honor I've had and worked with many people is that we're here, but we're not here.
Hmm. What do you mean by that?
Right now, I can see your body,
Hmm.
right? I can see you in this time space reality that there is, at least based on my eyes and this three-dimensional realm, that there's a figure
Hmm.
that is known as Alex.
Hmm.
But is Alex here,
Hmm.
or is he disassociated from himself?
Hmm.
And what I found is that due to history or someone's past, they've either chosen unconsciously, most of the time it's unconscious, that it's not safe to be here.
Hmm.
It's not safe to be in the present
Hmm.
for whatever justifiable reason. So for me, that's where I feel life is,
Hmm.
not was, not is going to be, not what will be, but where life is.
Hmm.
It's in the moment. And if I could do what's necessary to bring myself to every single moment, then what I'm doing is I'm actually inviting aliveness
Hmm.
back. Right. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Inviting aliveness back comes up for me. There's, aliveness is like the beingness.
Absolutely.
The beingness is it's everything and nothing all at once
At the same time.
at the same time, which is, a bit of a mind fuck, but it's really if everything has consciousness.
Yes.
So if one is inviting the aliveness,
Yes.
it's like one is paying attention
Yes.
to the consciousness.
Yes.
And now there's a relationship being formed and everything is relationship.
Yes. Yes.
You want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah. And as you were saying that, what I recognize is aliveness is always present, just like everything else is always present. It's a
Mhm.
matter of why or what is causing us to interrupt it.
Mhm.
Many would say it's the existence of the ego, right?
Mhm.
Which I feel is a necessary aspect of us.
Mhm. For sure.
But even lacking relationship with that aspect of us can cause this unconscious interruption of just a flow that's already pre-designed by the greatest creator. I call it God,
Mhm.
where there's nothing to ultimately fear, but that now we go into, okay, like, well, if I'm interrupting something that naturally wants to move through me, or I need to invite back,
Mm.
and that means that I'm now aware of where I'm separate from it.
Mm. Hmm.
So when I invite aliveness back, it's also remembering, you know, that the separation is a form of illusion. So aliveness is also bringing me back into like the wholeness that exists in the moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. If the aliveness has its own consciousness
Hmm.
and one begins to create a relationship with this where now one's paying attention to the aliveness in others, in nature. All of these, all of this is alive. All of this has beingness.
All of it.
Being, another word for God, perhaps.
Yeah.
So now one is paying attention more towards God, being, nature, aliveness. And now there's a relationship being formed.
Yes.
It's a giving and a receiving.
There's communication that's being had.
There's communication.
Yes.
And in that communication, would I be wrong to presume like that one can gain access to information, to wisdom, to if nature is communicating, if God is communicating, well then it sounds like to me it's like the thing that gets in the way of that, there can be many things, but one thing would be, like you said, the ego, the identity, the nonstop thinking.
Yeah.
Because if one's thinking, it's kind of like that's a conversation or relationship if one was just talking all the time.
Of course.
And not leaving any room for the listening.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting from you is you've developed a relationship where there's a lot more listening.
That's been a fundamental key and principle for me. It's because I know I don't know, but there's a part of me that knows when I'm willing to listen.
What part of you is that?
So that's the part of me that's open and receptive to what wants to move through me, right? It's as if I'm knowing through the ultimate knower. I'm being experienced through God, right? As opposed to the part of me, which I feel is healthy, right? As long as it's rooted in some form of, there's some form of reason that's required, right? Because again, it's like our ego has a necessary function when it's serving the soul. When it's serving itself, then it becomes all about survival.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like that's an aspect that checks us out of listening. But for me, I've developed this part of listening because of this interaction I've been able to have, like this relationship that's been able to, this unseen relationship that's been able to form even when I'm outside, right? And I just pause for a minute or I look at a tree, it's like it's communicating something that maybe only I can understand based on what I need in the moment or my own relationship, right, to it. And I think on some level, information is always available. It's all information at the end of the day. Light is information.
Correct.
But instead of always having to maybe analyze or assess it, do we give ourselves the time to actually digest it first? And that's what I've learned is just let me digest what is coming in, what I'm receiving. And just like I eat food and I chew the food and I swallow it, I don't have to digest it. It does it on its own.
Right.
And it also assimilates the nutrients and send it to wherever it needs to go. So I believe that process is also relevant for this unseen information. And in some cases, I may need to break it down or properly decipher it or, put it in a form that relates to my own experience. But nonetheless, I'm receiving something and I have to allow the process of reception to take place. Because now it's like, okay, I eat food. I now have energy and I use that energy to go do something. I receive information,
the
right?
light,
spiritual food, light, or darkness.
Sure. Right.
And by darkness, for people who hear that, I'm not talking about anything like demonic or anything like that. Just had to set context, right? I digest it, and now I have something to give. So there's always this cycle. There's this reciprocal event that's happening where it's like, okay, in order for me to give, I need to receive first.
Mm-hmm.
And once I give, now I'm open to receiving again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. It's the awareness of allowing the giver-receiver relationship to come in instead of
Always happen to give.
always having to give. Yeah. Or always how, I was for a long time was wanting to take and keep,
Yes.
which is a totally
Yes.
different way to show up to any
Yes.
relationship. So
Yes.
that was a big realization for me was it was about serving the self, serving Alex. But once I, became aware of that, it was like, it's really becomes about service. Is
Yes.
the giving, the receiving. One receives the light,
Yes.
goes into the darkness, receives whatever they, is meant to be received, so that
Yes.
one can be of service. And we get to be of service, which is the ultimate gift.
Yes.
It's like, and as long as one is aware that it's a blessing, it's a privilege to even be here, to get to be of service.
Yeah.
And I know service has been a big thing. We've talked about this a little bit. You inspired me to be more of service, volunteering and this kind of stuff. But let's talk about that. There's so many things that I want to unpack there. But while we're on the service, like, it's such a big shift for a lot of people because a lot of people are in survival. And when you're in survival, it's only natural that one is thinking about themselves. It's hard to think about anything else. And I get that. So there's no judgment. But once one gets the awareness that when you're of service, you're shifting to a giving. And when you're giving, you actually have more than enough because you're giving. So it shifts into the abundance mindset. So let's talk a little bit about that and service and how did you get aware of that? What was was there an aha moment?
Yeah. Of service?
Yeah.
I think we're born with it. My two girls are remind me every day, right? There's this shared experience and innocence that we are all born with that naturally wants to interact in a loving way with another, right? And I think there comes a point where our identities are fully formed. Our ego is forming or is formed. And then once you have a distinct awareness of this I and you, the separation, right? I think at that point is where, there's room to be essentially like taken over by the need to believe that there's not enough. Now, I think there are many factors to focus on that. Like it's one of the, what I like to say, the core wound beliefs is I'm not enough. And which in a lot of cases is formed in our, developmental years in our childhood. But I remembered in service, and it was actually selfish at first because of how I felt when I gave.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's the best feeling.
So it's like, it's the greatest feeling ever.
Yeah.
And I've shared this story quite a number of times, but I also realized how self-centered I was in service because of what I was getting out of it. Right?
Right.
And it was a way for me to feel good about myself because I didn't. So here I am looking for something outside of myself and utilizing the frame or cover up of this noble service when in reality, I was just serving myself because of how great it felt.
Wow.
Now, here's how I was able to figure that out. And it's funny that we're on the topic of receiving. It was actually through realizing that I was not receiving that I learned this. And we were in LA at the time, coming back from work. And work was, we were partnered in a 10,000 square foot facility in Compton where we would run workouts and big community and stuff.
Cool.
So I was coming back from that after a long day, stopped at the grocery store across the street from our apartment. And I always see this homeless woman, right? I do that in quotes because, again, that's what society's label of them are, but, and sure, right? If you want to get technical, they don't have a home. But I always see this woman around the neighborhood, and she was sitting in front of the grocery store. And I made a mental note that I'm going to get cash back once I buy whatever I need to buy to give to her. I was in a rush, completely forgot, rushed out the store, saw her, and I realized, damn, I forgot to get out money. But I didn't want to go back in and buy something else and get cash. So I go up to her and I said, hey, my intention was to get out money. And by the way, the only reason I'm sharing this is so because there was a lesson in there for me.
Sure.
All right. Normally I don't talk about the deeds that I do. Right?
Yes.
And I said, hey, my intention was to get out money, but I completely forgot. But I do have some food here. I have some snacks that I would love to share with you. And she said, for me? I was like, yeah. And I said, well, I have these 2 bags of chips. Can I offer you any one of them? And then we laughed for a bit because she was like, I don't have any teeth. But nonetheless, she picked the bag of chips and then she began to like ruffle or move in her stuff. Cause I'm like, all right, like I just gave you a bag of chips. Like, what are you about to do? Right. She like put them down and then started, playing in her things. And then she pulls out $1 and hands it to me. For the first time in my entire life, since I've been giving, right? Especially for someone in those conditions, I've never had someone give back to me or homeless individual give back to me. I froze because immediately I go, who am I to take money from someone who is homeless? And I said, no, this is on me. Go ahead, right? As if I'm too good to take money from a homeless person, right? And here's how I knew like something was there, because it stuck with me for maybe a good week. I just kept thinking about it. I was like, what was that? So I reach out to a mentor and they reflect back to me. It's like, how do you feel when you give? I said, great, amazing. I feel purposeful, right? They said, what if you robbed her of the opportunity to feel the same thing you feel? And in that moment, I realized, oh, I thought I was being of service. I'm cutting off the circulation of the energy that makes not just me being served, but also serving the other. In that moment, I realized, oh, my own inner self-image, my own belief caused me to essentially like stop someone from receiving as well. And they also added, it's like, what if in that moment they also wanted to just get a taste of what it was like to just be normal? Because the world is already like judging them as this and that. So that moment shifted my entire life. But I feel we are born to serve in some way, shape, or form. I feel each of us has a reason for being. I think of parts of my culture where when a child is about to arrive, the woman is pregnant. In certain tribes, there's someone appointed to the child where they literally intuitively communicate with the child, and the child lets them know why they're coming.
Oh, wow. Pre-birth?
Pre-birth. And they name the child according to why it's here, so the child never forgets what it's here to do.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And I somewhat have the same story, being born in the church, but the church we grew up in was very kind of unorthodox, but still had a lot of what you would consider spiritual and woo-woo. And I had my own experience of that, with my name. Like, there's someone that meditated on my name for about 7 days, and this is his name.
Amazing.
And I say that because I think we're all here to be, but be in a way, our beingness is service to what the world needs at the time that it needs it. And it is through serving that I feel we all uplift and make this world, for as cliche as it sounds, like not just a better place, but the place that it's meant to be. Because as a father, I'm realizing that it's not so much about passing anything on to them. I'm realizing that the world that they're going to inherit from me, I'm borrowing it from them.
Right.
And if I were to borrow something from you, what would you want me to do with it?
Give it back and
take care of it,
take care
return
of
it
it.
in
Yeah.
probably a better condition than you
Better
gave
would
it to
be
me.
great. Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
And in doing that, I'm honoring you.
Mm-hmm.
I have you in my heart and mind, knowing that, okay, because I have this relationship with you, and I take you as a friend, like whatever you extend to me that I'm borrowing from you is also an extension of your energy. And how I take care of that,
Mm-hmm.
right, says a lot about not just me, but it's also what I'm doing to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So service is also a reflection
Mm-hmm.
of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm serving myself, it's not because I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like because I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, because somewhere I've learned along the way that there is not enough. So I have to hoard.
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep to myself. I don't feel like there's enough around. I'm so blocked and blinded and so narrow focused to the literal abundance that is around me. Like literal, like you look up at the sky, there's not enough of it.
Right.
There's more than
enough,
enough of it. You look at the tree, more than enough of it.
Mm-hmm. Nature is
The
always
water,
more than
ocean
enough.
is more than enough of it.
Yes.
I just think we've also narrowed the relationship and our quote unquote ideal perspective of what not just abundance is, but what enough is, which affects how we serve. Yeah.
So well said. So much gold in there. Yeah. Man, there's so many good ones I want to touch on, but
let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. On just the realization, the biggest code, a major code that one can realize is I am more than enough. In other words, I am abundant. And the I am, the presence, the first person present tense, aliveness. Because once one says I am, they're instantly present.
Yes.
You're in the now.
Yes.
The now is the only thing that exists. So you're one with that in the I amness, and then just saying, I am enough. I am more than enough, because life is more than enough.
More than enough.
It's constantly way more.
Way more.
More than we could ever imagine. So it's so cool. I love that you tapped into that. It's such a big, easy, simple realization that one could just, you're more than enough. You'll always be more than enough.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yes. I think the issue there, why it's even challenging for people to why they wrestle with that. And I agree in some regards, because, it's one thing to say I'm enough, and there's another thing to like truly feel it in yourself. And, I think I say that our words are an extension of our embodiment. You can say, I've been the one that says a lot of things, but it's the opposite when you really like feel where I'm at. But what came to mind as you were saying that was, I was in Costa Rica recently, and it's a massive reminder when I travel outside of what I would consider, because it's still Western influence there, but outside the Western paradigm. And you realize the reason in those, and it's, again, I may be generalizing here, and I'm also not naive to people's quote unquote experience, but majority of the time, because it brings me back to when I spent 2 years in Nigeria. And even though I was a kid, I still felt what I felt. But there's this relationship to life that people have in these locations, in these areas, where even though it looks like they don't have, they know that they have. Right? It's like at 4, I learned how to squeeze the juice out of an orange to make the best use of what we had. And it wasn't until I was exposed to, let's say, culture outside of mine, is where the seed was planted that, oh, I need more. I think this idea of more that's being perpetuated in our society is what constantly keeps this belief that it's not enough when that's not the reality. So when I leave outside of this paradigm and I go into like a village or something, right? Sure, they are impoverished. Let's just call it what it is. And yet there is a richness, right? That they possess.
An
that I don't feel
aliveness.
exists.
Yeah.
And I always say this. I say, those who we consider third world, like materialistically or resource-wise, are first world in consciousness.
Yeah.
And here in the West,
It's the
we're
opposite.
third world in consciousness
Yeah.
and
So
first
true.
world in resources.
So true.
And I think that's where the separation, that's where the gap is, where our consciousness doesn't match the resources that we're creating.
Totally.
Because I think ultimately, and this is, now I'm like going, right? How we're building the infrastructure is from survival.
Right. So the root of it is
not enough.
Is not enough, based in lack and needing more.
Yes.
So it adds up if that's the infrastructure.
Yes.
It's like, okay, we need more, more.
Yes.
But in that is the trap.
Yes.
Because it's already rooted in lack. So it's a never ending fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Where if we look at the opposite, and I could attest to this, going to Peru Mexico and Cuba, some of the happiest people I've ever seen.
Incredible.
With the least amount of resources, but it's the awareness that they're alive and they have the things that truly matter.
They're present.
They're in it.
Yes.
They're in aliveness, and it's so simple.
Yes, but it's really everything.
It's really everything, and we're living examples, not necessarily you and I, but here in the West, of how it's going, and it's not working.
No.
People are miserable, and there's a mental health crisis here based on this old paradigm.
Yes.
So where I'm going with this is service. A wonderful way to, and truly being of service.
Yes.
Like you said, there was something there I really wanted to touch on, is by truly being of service, by giving and allowing the other, so you can receive, you're giving them the gift that they could be of service.
Yes.
So cool. This reciprocity.
Yes.
And then in that, there becomes an awareness that I am more than enough. I don't need to consume all of this nonsense to fill this lie that's been, implanted, whether it's by, mainstream media or marketing or school. This.
Call it what it is. There's an agenda, and it's been there for a while, and it's more spiritual than anything.
What do you mean by that?
For the longest, and I have a different perspective. And again, that's all I'm sharing is my perspective, right? When we look at how this system, and there are many systems and subsystems within the system, how it's organized and put together, we can say, while honoring the many complexities and nuance, and I know this is going to be a general statement, that the system is not created for you to be connected to yourself and where you don't need to outsource your power. Right? I mean, look at the education system, the medical system, the political system, the financial system, everything, not everything, but most things are built and centered around you needing this system outside of you to fill a gaping hole that the system created.
Yeah.
It's this cycle, right? Whereas we were born into a world that, as long as we're willing to be connected to it, to listen to it, to take care of it, to water each other, it gives back. Like, as you were speaking, I thought of, let's say I take an apple, a seeded apple.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Real apple.
A real apple. I eat it. And immediately when I look at it, God's communicating to me saying, I gave you more within what you have with the seeds. So what do? I take the seed and I put it back in the soil to produce more.
More, yeah. An abundance of apples.
Right? And
Yeah.
it's like, it's always there.
Mhm.
But when you have an agenda
Mm.
that's more unseen, that is bombarding not just your mind, but your spirit to check you out of the innate power you were born with, that you always had, that is in your cells, then it'd be easy to not see the abundance that exists in the apple or around you. Yeah.
Yeah. Being constantly, I see it on the spiritual level where
Yeah.
if they can bombard the mind with so much noise, so it's nonstop thinking,
Yeah.
there's no space to tap in to that divine nature.
It's always present.
It's always present, which
Yeah.
is always there.
Always.
It's just a matter of creating the space within our lives,
Yes.
which is the challenge because, you know, most of us are stuck on this hamster wheel
Yes.
of chasing
Yes.
to go get this and not even being aware of what we're actually doing.
Right.
It's just a
Well, it's survival.
survival.
I've been there. I grew
Same.
up. I grew up watching my parents have to do it. I had to do it. I've worked 4 jobs at one point at the same time, and it's survival. When the seed in the soil produces the fruit of survival, and all I'm eating is the same fruit.
You are what you eat.
I'm just eating the same fruit. So it's like, I'll never get to a point within myself where I can actually breathe because I'm already like believing, which is an illusion. I'm already believing that it's never going to be enough. And here's the caveat. If I've done that time and time and time and time and time again, it's a lot safer for me to be in the hamster wheel because that's what's familiar.
Right.
So if I've been in survival, talk survival, live survival, breathe survival, that's all I know.
Right. It's scary to go outside that for someone because, like, wow, that's uncomfortable.
Yes.
And in that uncomfortability, of course, most people, when they think that, like, who wants to be uncomfortable to the first, when that, you know, seed is planted?
Yep.
However, as you know, as I have come to learn, in that uncomfortability is where all the growth happens.
Of course.
And it's remarkable. Like the more, almost like the more that I could be uncomfortable, the more that I could seek out those uncomfortable conversations or situations, there's real growth on a conscious level.
Yeah.
And then my ability to show up to all kinds of situations after is increased. It's created this capacity, and it's really through the uncomfortable.
Yes.
Which is so cool. It's like we're saying, it's a inverted, it's inverted part of the system where they're keeping us in comfort.
That's what it is.
The dream killer.
Yes. The golden handcuffs.
The golden handcuffs, exactly. And that's where, because if one's in the golden handcuffs, they're stuck on the hamster wheel. They're not tapping in to their souls, you know, called divine nature, soul,
curriculum,
purpose.
Yeah, if someone does it for me, then I don't need to do it.
Outsourcing the power again.
So if I'm being pacified, and it's like at this point, if I don't have to get up and get the remote now, like the remote was already convenient. Now I don't have to get up and get the remote because it's on my phone. It's like eventually, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just deteriorating, right? My own energy, my spiritual hunger to like go be in the world. So I love that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even if we look back in history or, you know, history that we know about, just some of the most remarkable human beings, the ones most notary that were integral, they went through really uncomfortable situations, some of the most uncomfortable situations, you know, Jesus and Buddha and all these things. Even though Buddha was rich, he went on this, you know, giant escapade and But yeah, they went Gandhi,
Yeah.
Krishna, all these went through the uncomfortability
Yeah.
to expand. So it's almost like to become divine, to become like God
Mm-hmm.
is to seek out the uncomfortable.
Mm.
Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. only be only because that's in my experience, that's what's made their reward worthwhile.
Mm.
And if not for the discomfort, there'll be nothing I can receive to give.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
If we're here to be of service, right? To
Mm-hmm.
give, what am I here to give if I have not moved through some sort of situation or experience that challenged me and forced me to transform, to go beyond the form I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
so I can extract
Mm-hmm.
gold or wisdom
Mm-hmm.
to now give to somebody else. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I don't experience that, then there's really nothing I can give.
Right. It's a concept at best. But in this sense, one goes through the uncomfortability.
Yes.
They go into the cave,
Yes.
they see the dragon or
Yes.
whatever the case is.
Yes.
They receive the gold
Yes.
by going through that uncomfortable, challenge, the villain, the boss, whatever
Yes.
you want to call it. And then it's qualified them to actually be of service. And then here we go into this giving receivership where now
Yes.
you've shared the wisdom with someone else. They get to go on their own hero's journey.
Yep.
So cool.
Yep. Is this constant cycle?
There we go. So that's the word. That's the word. It magically popped up. So speaking of nature, nature flows in distinct patterns.
Yes.
Cycles,
Yes.
if you will.
Yes.
This is something I've talked briefly with you about at dinner at our friend Lucas's birthday.
Yeah.
And I'd love to dive into this more.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
I see these patterns showing up in
Yeah.
my life, other
Yep.
people's lives. So let's just dive in. Tell me,
Let's do it.
let's enlighten me with some codes on cycles.
I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've come to realize is that nature, life, moves in a cyclical fashion,
Mm-hmm.
where nothing is new under the sun.
Mm-hmm. Truly.
But when it repeats itself, let's say it repeats itself in a different iteration based on what is present. So, for example, we're currently in the spring, right? Now, would you say last spring, obviously we're still in this spring, but would you say this spring is just like last spring?
Similar, but obviously different.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Different based on how you experienced it, where you are in your personal life, right?
Right. Your consciousness, your awareness, your understanding.
Yep. But as far as the season itself, it repeats.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with winter, fall, summer. These are smaller cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are bigger cycles that house the smaller cycles. Mm-hmm. And even bigger cycles that house the even smaller cycles. Mm-hmm. And if you just observe, you start to see the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
Ancients have known this for millennia, for tens of thousands of years, just through their own deep study and again, listening and relating to nature. And they notice that there is a cyclical pattern. Mm-hmm. There is a timing of where not only just the earth changes or nature changes, but also the consciousness changes as well.
Wow.
When I think of cycles, it reminds me of, in ancient Africa, you have, the Dogon tribe, who are some of the oldest studiers of the stars. You have the ancient Cometians, or known as Egypt, who, the Dogons are a part of an. In fact, many tribes and many quote unquote current Africans migrated from Egypt. Most people don't know that because it's not popular to say that, right? But there was an understanding that as the sun shifted, right? So did consciousness, right? So did consciousness.
Makes sense.
So we have, for instance, like you look at the day, the 24-hour day, that goes through a cycle. You have sunrise, then you have kind of like mid-morning or kind of dawn, right? And you have the afternoon, then you have the evening, then you have the night. And then it does it over and over and over again. And then you have the month cycle, the 28-day cycle.
Right, the moon.
Then you have the yearly cycle, right? 360 days. When you're following the
a real calendar.
Yeah. And then you have 7-year cycles.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's 21-year cycles. There are many different cycles that if you study, you'll see that like there's always a pattern that repeats. It just always comes back and forth. But what I was saying with ancient Africa, what they were able to notice is the sun's relationship to the effect of the planet. And the Mayans knew this, the Incan knew this, they all knew this. The other indigenous cultures knew this. Even in Asia, they knew this. The sun affected or was primarily responsible for a lot of the cycles that took place. So in ancient Africa particularly, they had something, well, this is an alternate perspective, but they had something called the 5 cycles of the sun.
Tell me more.
And they weren't just the literal cycles. Like if you look at the day, you see the sun cycles, but they specifically were speaking to the cycles of consciousness and the collective. So you have the 5 cycles that represent the sun rising and the sun setting. I have them here, so perfect. So you have the first cycle of Kepler. And if you're familiar with the scarab beetle and what it does, right? The scarab beetle represents kind of like waking consciousness. And a lot of indigenous individuals are saying that's kind of the cycle that we're in right now.
Awakening.
Yes. And you see it reflected in culture based on some of the information that's becoming available, some of the discoveries that are becoming available, some of the unknown information that probably is not the best becoming available. A lot of what was in the dark is becoming
light
available. Yes. But it's not full light. It's like the dawn. It's like the first light.
Yeah.
Kind of like after night, like when like 6 a.m.-ish.
Yeah.
Now it's
starting to come up.
Yes. So it's starting to illuminate what was in the dark. And by darkness, in this case, it's ignorance. And if you look at the last 2,000 years per se, we've been in a cycle of ignorance. And by ignorance, I mean the lack of access to information where people can make their own decision and choices and not be swindled or swayed by just a very individual, perspective, right? Kind of limited to just a certain group of people who's directing how to think. And I mean, that's how it was when back in the day, majority of people were illiterate, right? So they relied on the priests and the church and the kings and the queens to direct them, right?
Outsourcing the power once again.
We know where that goes. And then next is the cycle of Ra. And they call Ra the stubborn. So this is,
the stubborn?
The stubborn. It's kind of like the youthful male. And this is kind of like mid-morning, kind of nearing, when the sun is, it's like, let's say 10 a.m.-ish.
Okay.
And this is when you're starting to like come into information now. So if you kind of see it, we're seeing the cycles within the greater cycles, but it's like when you didn't have access to information, now you have the internet, now you have AI, and now people don't need a middleman any longer.
Right.
between them and God, and then middleman between them and actual information. What happens when you just get into information? Now it's like, you may think that you know it all.
You may think that you know. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
You may think that you know.
Yeah, so which is dangerous.
Yes. Is this youthful male?
Stubborn adolescent male.
Which I think, I have this running joke, is this, our modern world, I think that's where we are. That's where we've been. It's like we're this youthful teenager that thinks we know it all because of our technological advances.
Right.
And yet we have some of the most biggest issues.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we've disconnected from our spirituality, which the indigenous had.
That was their main focus, pretty much.
They built everything from spirituality. It was spirituality first.
Yeah.
It was so spiritual that they didn't need a spiritual community, because that was
the community. Ceremony. It's basically
that's life.
That's life.
It's not compartmentalized to this different aspect of you. It just is life.
Yeah.
Everything was spiritual. How I'm speaking to you is spiritual. How I'm eating is spiritual.
Right.
How I commissioned and built these structures that stand the test of time is all spiritual. Right. So they knew that. But yeah, running joke that I think like we're just this youthful teenager that knows it all. And then you have the next cycle of the sun, which is Un. So this is like legit, like almost at the peak. This is called the wise one. And this is like afternoon, hence Un, right? This is like peak of the sun. This is like 12 noon, like one-ish. This is when the sun is the hottest, right? And this is when, the information or the wisdom or consciousness is starting to kind of like level off. It's like, okay, I went through that teenage phase. I realized that I was being a bit too egotistical.
Yeah, I don't know it all.
But I learned a lot. Now my consciousness is starting to kind of like get to a space where it's like, all right, we're good. And then we get to the peak, which is Aten. And this is what in many, schools of thought or many traditions, this is when, we would call the golden age.
I keep hearing this.
Yeah. I mean, it matches, in the Eastern tradition, the yugas. So the yugas have something similar. It's like the Bronze Age, the Silver Age, the Golden Age, right? Which matches, again, the cycles. Right? We all go through these different cycles. And it's also, again, you got to acknowledge, for example, let's say right now we're in Kepler, which is the dawn, the first cycle. This doesn't mean that we can't have a golden age in Kepler.
Oh, okay.
So this just goes to show you there's
cycles within
cycles. Right, within cycles. So, this is when consciousness is at its peak. This is when some people would say the pyramids were built. Right? Some of these structures were built because there was complete connection, not just to nature, right? But access to all your senses. Access to all your senses. I mean, this is when we're talking about like telepathy. I'm communicating with you without using words, and intuition's on point, right? This is when, just think of the most ideal, perfect scenario where now you are the holder of wisdom because you're so open and receptive and you're working in harmony with nature to be able to create temples that heal, right?
As a collective, as one.
Yes. This is when you use true spirituality to create technology, right? That creates an environment of spirituality, creates more technology. But this is just reciprocity at its best.
Reciprocal maintenance.
Yes. But this is like peak golden age, right?
Wow.
And this is when we're like completely technologically and spiritually advanced, like beyond what we can conceive now, right? And then you have the age of Amen. And this is when we go back down.
So what do you think happens there? Something?
So we just, this is what, it's called the Dark Ages.
Right.
And we just become ignorant again.
We get too focused on self. It's I
don't think it's that simple. I think what happens is it just, that's
the cycle.
That's the nature.
It's the nature.
For example,
Is it because the sun is going farther away, so there's less light to receive, less light to give?
You could see it that way. When the sun's not in the sky, when there's no light, then there's darkness, there's ignorance.
Yeah.
So
yeah, people get miserable.
Consciousness-wise, that's what it represents.
Right.
And if you look at even the life cycle of a human being, you start off as a baby, as a child, coming into consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go through your teenage phase when you're starting to kind of learn who you are, adolescence, think you know it all, it's like, right? And then you hit adult life, right? Kind of 20s, 30s. But isn't it interesting that we say that we're not fully matured until 40. 50?
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Uh-huh.
This is when we've lived a good amount of life, right? Where we
think we know.
We've researched.
Yeah.
We've researched the first 40 years of our life, and now we're like at the peak of our own life to really like do some great things. And then we get old. We're elders, right? And we start to eventually decline back into darkness and over and over and over again. So the natural life cycle matches even the greater cycles that represent consciousness as well. But there's cycles everywhere. We have financial cycles. If you study the financial markets, I think there's a 60 or 67 year financial cycle that happens over and over and over again.
Every 8 years or something.
There's a cycle within that, right? It just goes to prove that there's a rhythm to nature.
Right.
There's a rhythm to God that God already orchestrated, and it's just like this moving program that we're just passengers in. And why I feel this is important for us to at least begin to explore once again is because our ancestors knew this. Now, they weren't able to control it because you can't. You can't change it. No. But they were able to be aware of it and know how to prepare. One thing that I've researched when it comes to like the age of Amen, when we're declining and then we have to pick up again. So if you look at the dark ages, it's like, how did we get, if it's true, and I believe it's true just based on a lot of history that I've studied, that we're not the most advanced, right? We still can't figure out how we built the pyramids. Right. And by the way, side note, this is a disclaimer. If you want to know how they built it, go to the people that built it.
Right.
They're still there. Wow. Right. If we can't build the pyramids again, right? But we consider ourselves the most advanced.
Doesn't add up.
No. I mean, there's research. It's been proven. It's not publicly accepted by quote unquote, let's say the establishment, because I think it will dismantle the power and the narrative and the superiority that's held. But we're not the most advanced.
For sure.
There have been civilizations way before us that existed.
For example.
Did you just say that?
I sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And there's proof.
Real proof.
There's proof.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then how did we lose all of that?
Right.
What happened? So there's a lot of research that's pointing to the fact that through these cycles, the earth goes through a reset. There's a cataclysm of some sort.
Its own cycle where it's like, okay.
So if you ever read the Adam and Eve story, it's a book. And even outside of that book, even just through research, all signs are pointing to the last big cataclysm being between 11,500 years to 13,000 years ago. And yeah, the earth went through a complete global reset. Like, full on. Yeah, I don't want
flood or something.
Oh yes, so the flood. It was a massive flood.
A lot of evidence of this.
Yes, and I think that's at least one reason for the purpose of why we're finding a lot of underground cities or
these structures that
are hundreds of feet below
the ground. Yeah, built out.
Yes,
tunnels, like full city tunnels,
fully built out. Right. So I think that's what happens, and it's like, imagine if everything that you've known, or the holders of wisdom and information that were supposed to kind of keep that or be the keepers of information, kind of passed. then those who survived had to start over, right? You had to start over. And then the sun is not at its peak as much, right? Figuratively and literally. So now you don't have access to much light.
Right. The knowledge, information.
Yes.
The codes.
You don't have access to much light, which I think our ancestors did. They knew how to tap into certain frequencies in nature and extract information. It's like the taitas or the shamans in Central America who tell you, oh, hey, you wanna solve that problem? Okay, take this plant.
Talk to the plants.
And you ask them, how do you know? The plants told me.
Right. They're sentient beings.
Right. And then here we are in the West laughing at them. It's like, no, they have access to information just like we do, though.
Yeah. Yeah. They're tapped into Mother Nature.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all been like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. I'm getting it. And it sounds like, what if one can develop a relationship to the sun?
Yes.
Like the ancestors were paying attention to it, right? They're aware of it. They're studying it. And now there's a relationship forming. It's not just, oh, there's some ball in the sky, how many miles away? And now it's a communication. You're able to receive the light through our eyes, the windows to the soul.
Yes.
And now, like we talked about earlier, is like, okay, you're receiving, then there's a digestion or processing of these light codes.
Yes.
That is information.
Yes.
That you can share with others. And now it becomes more of wow, it's very interesting.
Well, why, and this is why it's so important to be grounded. This is why I'd rather be grounded. Like that's one of my go-tos. It's one of the ways I live is being grounded. There are times where you could be stoic, but I believe stoicism should be used, or it's only used in times where there's unpredictability and crisis. Right? If I'm in a actual war, then I'm probably going to be stoic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Not time to freak out.
But 9 times out of 10, being grounded is way more sustainable.
Yeah.
Because
way better.
Here's what I'm doing. When you talk about the sun or the access to information or energy or current, the body is a conduit. Think of it like a wire. And with electricity, if it's not grounded, you're going to need a bunch of different circuit breakers to stop it from shorting all the time. So if I can receive and allow myself to ground it, now it's not just existing in the ethers. I've now pulled it to this realm to now give it. And I think that's the benefit of being grounded. It's like there's a lot of spiritual wisdom, if you will, that is shared. Like it's good to talk about it. I've been the one. And then my life changed when I started grounding it and living it.
Embodying it.
And you realize,
being it.
And you realize all of it is spiritual. All of it. Everything is spiritual. Even this conversation is spiritual, because nothing can exist in the physical realm without it existing in the spirit first.
Nothing. Say that again.
Nothing can exist in the physical realm without it existing in the unseen spiritual realm first.
Wow.
So the spirit is the reason for why physical things exist, but our bodies are the bridge to get it here.
Right. They're like there are ability, the bridge, like you said, to see it, to
make it real.
To make it real.
To make it tangible.
To see it with our eyes, to hear it with our ears. Now the senses are getting involved.
Yes.
And now it's like a communication, whether we realize it or not.
We're on a physical planet for a reason. So we have to be physical.
It's part of it. Human being. Human is the physical.
We gotta be physical.
Being is the spiritual.
Yes.
Yes.
We gotta be physical.
Yeah.
So
nothing real. Nothing spiritual doesn't really exist. And everything that exists is spiritual, has a beingness.
Say that again.
Nothing that isn't real exists.
Nothing that isn't real exists. That's interesting. That's like that's like a paradox in itself. Nothing that's not real exists. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because in the unseen,
Right.
all possibilities exist.
Mhm.
And we prove it to ourselves by bringing it to the physical,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Right. That's the manifesting.
Yes.
It's a spiritual thing, so it's
Yes.
formless.
Yes.
And then the manifesting
Yes.
is bringing that formless
Into the form.
thing now into an actual thing, which is a
Into form.
form. And now it's like, okay, it exists
In the form. Yeah.
in form.
Yes.
But still the formless also exists.
Always.
And that's also real.
Yes. In a sense.
In a sense.
Yes.
Still real.
But when I say in a sense, that's based on our own concept of what's real in this non-real game.
Right. That's where it gets to
Yeah.
the levels of awareness. Yeah. And if it's real, it can't be threatened because it's real. Mm-hmm. So, and if it's, that's, I see where you're going with that.
Can't.
Yeah, it can't be. Yeah, it's real.
So the more we invite ourselves to real or truth, we can't be threatened.
Right.
And that's why
wow,
Jesus or Yeshua, the figure we know as Jesus and Yeshua, was so dangerous.
Mm-hmm. He was embodying truth, period.
That he was willing to die for it.
Yeah, openly, with full acceptance.
Yeah, because it can't be threatened.
Can't be threatened, exactly. Nothing real can be threatened. He's embodying the truth. Even if you kill me, doesn't matter. I'm internal. I'm energy. I'm like, exactly.
So we talk about revolutions that exist.
Mm-hmm.
The true revolutionary is one that's living in truth.
Yeah.
You don't have to go fight this war or that's great. I think everyone has a role in how they're the revolutionary, but the biggest revolution is truth because
be truth. Be true self.
We're existing in a time where so much has been distorted.
A lot of distortions.
So imagine if all you have to do is live in truth.
So simple.
It's the light. It's the small glimpse of light in the ignorance
that lights it up and then can't be threatened.
Nope.
Wow. Okay. So good. I know we're running a bit short on time, so there's something I want to ask you there. Backtrack a little. So in the cycles, people get stuck in certain cycles, patterns. You know, some go up like the sun, some go down like the sun afterwards, right? And I've seen this in my own life, other people's lives, and they get stuck in these patterns of their own life.
Yeah.
Can one break the pattern? Can one shift the pattern? And if so, I know you know where I'm going with this, but I think you do, but what's a way that, someone that's listening, maybe they're getting some awareness. Yeah. Man, I'm in a bad pattern. I'm in a bad pattern, but a spinning downward
like
spiral.
A spiral.
Yeah,
right.
Spiral. Thank you. It's not good or bad. It's just a spiral. Yeah. How can they shift it? Can they shift it back up? Is it just they got to wait for the cycle to pass? What's your thoughts on that?
So this is a very good question. I love this question actually. So there are many layers to this. And the first layer is, and I'm going to use the seasons as an example because I think it's a real life.
People can relate.
Yeah, example that people can relate to. So we've just entered the spring equinox, right? And no matter, at least on the northern hemisphere, and no matter what I try to do, no matter how tough I am and how much I feel I can will myself into denying it, I can't deny that it's spring. I can't. There's nothing I could do. Right? No, I can't. So the first thing is accepting that there are seasons and cycles. That's the first
acceptance.
thing. Awareness of the seasons and cycles.
First
and
step.
then secondly is accepting the seasons and cycles and accepting that I can't control them.
I get it.
Okay. I think that's the first thing. And then the second thing is the awareness that I may be in denial or I may be in resistance. So can I just acknowledge that I'm in a spiral? Right? I think a lot of times the suffering increases when we're trying to stop it.
Resist it.
and we're trying to stop it. It's like trying to stop a moving train. You don't hit the brakes. It's gonna suck. It's like, oh, I'm in a moving train right now. Can I gather at least maybe just even feeling my toe, then feeling my feet, then feeling my feet on the ground.
Can the senses
Then notice what I'm hearing, what I'm smelling, what I taste, what my touch feels like, what I see with my eyes. And lastly, let me just assess or even just notice without trying to shift or change it or make it deeper or fuller, how my breath is. Those little, very, as I would say, very simple things pull you back into the moment. To spiral is to, for the most part, solely exist out of your body. Right?
In thoughts.
Right? So
future, past doesn't exist.
You slowly invite yourself back into the experience. And then without trying to stop the train, can you meet the train where it's at?
The present moment, the now. God.
It might not even be the present. It could be like a few clicks outside the present, but just slowly walk yourself back.
Back to the train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then realize, okay, I'm on a train right now. It feels very intense. But can I begin to slowly let my foot off the gas? We want to hit the brakes. No. You got to let your foot off the gas.
Slow down.
And then walk yourself back to this moment. And you'll notice most of the time it does help. So to acknowledge the spiral helps you not create more of it. And by doing that, you accept that, okay, this is what I'm in right now. But just as the seasons and cycles changed, this will change.
It's temporary.
This just happened to me this past winter. And fiscally, my business, historically has always done great. And the season of winter, right? Income would increase. So I think I've been used to doing that. But this last few winters have been different. But this last winter, nope. In fact, I remember I would try to force myself to get up early. I would get 10, sometimes 12 hours of sleep and wake up like a truck hit me.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until the spring, about a week or two before it, I got this surge of energy. No alarm clock needed. My body would get up anywhere between 5:30 and like 5:43. That's usually the I don't know why, but and sometimes it'd be with 3 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, and I'd be energized.
Wow. Fascinating.
And I'm like, okay, could this be because I've allowed myself to complete this season that I was just in? And now I have this surge of energy, right? How I see it is, I think when you are in tune with nature, right, you also have to honor that. And I think because of our relationship to time, the Gregorian calendar, the fiscal calendar, we're so out of touch and harmony with nature that I think we're creating more of a conflict with ourselves.
Right.
We're celebrating the new year in winter.
Yeah.
When the rest of life is going into hibernation. It's going into the darkness. It's going into rest. It's going into reflection.
Hibernation.
Right? Yeah. And we're forcing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're forcing it. So I think, this spiral or cycle starts with honoring what season and cycle that you're in. Because again, cycles can exist within cycles.
Right.
It could be summertime and springtime, and I could be in a personal winter temporarily.
Right. That's the key word. Yeah.
Temporarily. And this is the game. It's knowing how to meet the moment where it is without thinking it's supposed to be anything else.
Relationship again.
Yeah. It's springtime. I can't do anything about it. That's what it is right now. So how do I show up to what is without wishing it were different? And that's where a lot of the internal work takes place, is when I'm trying to deny reality or wishing it was different or wishing it was another way than what it is.
Yeah.
When I do that, I experience way more perpetual suffering because I'm in denial.
You're in denial, and one is showing up to that reality, life, which is alive, with a relationship of expecting it to be different than what it is. And that is just a total recipe for suffering if you just look at it in any kind of relationship.
Any kind of,
Wanting someone to change, I won't love you until you change. Like, good luck.
And yet we're
doing that with life.
Yes.
And I get it. There's a program that's been installed, the New Year calendar and all this kind of stuff. We get it, but you're onto it of one could be aware of that reality is life. So life is alive. Obviously, it's in the word itself. So why wouldn't one want to have a relationship with life? And imagine treating life as your best friend or your partner or whatever, romantic companion, whatever the word you want to use. Now there's a relationship of like, okay, you're going to pay attention. You're going to listen when they communicate. It's so cool.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
I think it all comes down to, again, there's a purpose to all of it. I'm not one to say that something shouldn't be a certain way, or I think there's a purpose to everything, whether we're conscious of it or not. So even survival itself has a place.
Right. Part of the game.
It has a place, or we wouldn't, I feel like,
wouldn't appreciate.
And we would not need to if there wasn't a need for it. We wouldn't be biologically designed that way if there was no need to survive. I mean, if you're in the wild in the middle of the jungle, you're going to need to survive. Cut all the other stuff out. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of how long I'm staying in it when it's not necessary.
Right. It's a mode.
Right? Like if I feel like I need to control you in order to make me feel a certain way, like when we're looking at it consciously, that's not a relationship I want to be a part of.
Right.
But when we unpack it, I can see why. Lack of safety, lack of trust. We unpack that stems from a moment where someone is not, they don't feel safe or trust life. So it all comes back down to this relationship we have with ourselves that essentially creates how we see the world. When we go within and explore from what place and why and how our identities, our personas, our ego was formed, then we get so much information on how we see the world. The world is neutral.
Right. It's not good or bad.
Nature is neutral until perspective is added.
Right.
I got that from Rich Roll, I
cool.
I believe.
Cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Just perspective.
It's all perspective.
Labeling.
Yeah. And then, of course, someone's going to have but what about this in this place? Yeah. Yes, we know that could be considered bad. And yet it's like perspective changes everything, right? It's like, why? But yeah, man.
Amazing. I know we're running low on time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I got two questions I want to ask. Intuitively, are you thinking more of the question that I'm on the left hand or the right hand?
Left. That's the first thing that came up.
Okay. So the left hand one was, we talked a bit about this earlier. You brought it up a couple times. So I'm going to go there. We've recently seen this with the developments in Egypt with the pyramids. And there's these structures underneath the pyramids going down hundreds of feet. I haven't dove too deep into it, but something there, clearly. Is this going back to the pyramids being some sort of technology Were they not covered in gold at one point or something, or copper? What's your thoughts?
So because I mean, like, I love Egypt.
You've
All
been
things,
there.
yeah. I love all things. I had the pleasure to go in November of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the new discoveries, they have not been confirmed yet.
Okay.
So I think we're at a point, and I think again, like there's benefits to social media, but this is also like some of the disadvantages where just information can spread faster than it's confirmed or grounded.
It's artificial.
Yeah. And not to say that there's nothing there, but I just think it's been over sensationalized. Again, it's like a new discovery and this in Egypt. And I think it's also that location is one of the most romanticized locations simply because you can't talk. You could do whatever you want, but I feel you can't proceed to talk or share about something that you have no real connection to. And this is not gatekeeping or anything like that. It's as simple as let's connect with like the source first.
Right.
Or at least want to go back to the roots. It's like if I see a mango tree, right? Okay, I know this is like I want to know how this mango tree developed, and I'm going to go to the root of it.
Right.
So there are many perspectives. There's some that are respectable. There are some that I think they're just doing their best to make sense of what really doesn't make sense to anyone. There's some who are doing really great work and, you know, sharing grounded information that's independent. You have the current establishment with Western academia who I feel, and I mean, you can find evidence for this, that they are purposefully keeping certain information away from the public about the temples, about the land, about even the purpose of those structures. Now, I'm also going to say, because I like to be heaven's advocate, that maybe they don't even know. Maybe they don't know because of the lack of connection to understanding and the roots of the purpose of their, like, to understand the temples and the structures, you got to know its people. You got to know why.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Know the why would be the big thing. Yeah.
Right.
Why are they doing it?
What I've learned, and just through my excitement and through my research, and Christopher Dunn does a really great job. If you're not familiar with his work and his books, he's been there, and he has an engineering background, and just through his assessment, and just through his perspective, he's shown in some ways how, yes, the purpose of those temples were beyond just mundane uses, right? They are actually technology. If you ever get a chance to go, just even knowing the material they used for the temples, granite, right? Some of the stone, like rose granite, the many different minerals that were used. You know that these minerals are conductors of energy. I'm sure you've seen this, the not being able to fit a blade between the bricks of the pyramid. And if you've ever, the magnitude of the Giza pyramid and even the Giza plateau is insane to think about. But what most people don't even know is that there are hundreds of pyramids in Sudan.
Wow. Hundreds?
Hundreds.
Wow.
They're not big.
Sure.
But they're pyramids in Sudan, which was once Nubia, which those who migrated to Egypt to make Egypt what it is came from.
Right.
So there was a purpose to this.
Right. Wow.
When I was there, I still felt the energy of the place. It wasn't like at like max, right? But I still felt the energy there. Like, it's a funny story. We went to Karnak Temple, which is one of the temples there, and it was considered, like the university that the likes of Plato and Socrates and all the notable Greek philosophers, right? Pythagoras, that's where they went to go study in Egypt when they arrived in Egypt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Many people don't know that. Wow. Many people have no idea that the notable Greek figures that and I think justifiably so, that they've earned at least some of their notoriety in some cases, right? Studied in the mystery schools of Egypt for a minimum of at least 15 to 22 years.
Wow.
So
hard studying.
Yeah. So we went to that temple. I mean, they still have many obelisks there. If you look at just the shape of the obelisk itself, it looks like a needle, right? The top of it, it's like a big needle. So again,
right,
just the shape of it is pointing, it's like showing its ability to receive energy and then send it out to the ground, right?
Right.
When we went there and we left to go back to our hotel rooms, our hotel keys demagnetized.
Wow, from being at the pyramid.
From being at Karnak Temple. There's still energy there.
Right.
I also had the pleasure of being inside the sarcophagus in the king's chamber. Unreal experience.
Wow.
So yes, there's a lot of research that points to the fact that there is a purpose to these temples. One of them being healing, which the ancient Egyptians were very good at utilizing sound.
Yeah. Sound and light, it sounds like.
Sound frequency. And I think they mastered it. In fact, again, I'm going to go on record and say it, and there's proof, is that they were well versed in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, music,
all the patterns,
culture, everything. And I wouldn't see why they wouldn't know how to utilize the technology in the way that could be of benefit to the community. Sound, just their knowledge of geology and being able to use nature. Again, this is the earth minerals.
Right.
Crystallized
light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Conductors of energy to be able to
communicate, give and receive.
Yep.
Open themselves up to receive the light.
So
cool.
For them, it was always a spiritual experience. There's stories of, I can't personally confirm this. I think the way I would confirm this is by legit, like going on another personal pilgrimage and connecting to my roots and still finding some of the stories. Because before written history in a lot of Africa, I can't speak for any other indigenous cultures, but a lot of it was oral. A lot of it was oral. So stories and wisdom and knowledge was passed down orally.
Through stories and metaphors?
Through stories, metaphors. Yep. That's why I think it's still difficult for them to decipher some of the hieroglyphics, because they're all in symbols and they mean so many different things. So many different things.
Right.
Right. And the intention was not for like a symbol to have just one meaning or like a linear.
Totally. It could mean so many things.
And the purpose of that, because they also acknowledged that each individual was a soul. A soul that was here with a certain curriculum and its own subjective experience, right, to be carried out. So the symbol can mean something for me in my life and something different for you.
Right.
It was not meant to be this
universal.
one size universal fit all.
Right.
And I think that's where the misunderstanding is. So yeah, just through my experience, through my research, there's no way, in my opinion, that those temples and those sacred sites did not have a specific purpose. I mean, just even the precision they were built with, and the locations they were built in, and how they're on the grids of the earth, and the the ley lines of the earth, and there's just so many unique things about that land and just other sites that prove that they were used for something more than, let's just say, mundane uses. And then in Saqqara, there's this section in Saqqara. It's like these granite boxes. And the story was that if you had a issue or a health issue, even spiritual health or energetic health, they knew at the core, there was an energetic fragmentation.
Right.
If you're physically ill, there's an energetic reason first.
Right. It's all energy. Makes sense. Yeah.
So these boxes in Saqqara, or not like the boxes in the ground, because that's also in Saqqara as well, but these boxes or these granite tables, the story is that you'd go to like the priest, and the priests are not like religious, not in the religious sense of priests. The priests were like your shamans. They were like your wisdom keepers. They were like your healers, right? They were the ones that had knowledge of the temples and how they were built. They were like the keepers of them, right? In fact, in most cases, only the priests and the pharaohs and high officials could go into those places, right? But you'd go on these tables and they would diagnose it, like they would sing or they would chant, and it would communicate to the body in a way that it reflect back to you what's going on. And then they would use sound to just work through like some of the challenges that the person's experiencing. And thousands of years later, with Emoto's work, Dr. Emoto's work, you can see it's a thing. You can see, because of how much water we are, how energy affects the biology of that. So it's so neat, man. But just even the simple fact of, when you are aware of the geological knowledge and wisdom and insight they had to use specific minerals, like granite's not light. Like,
no, it's not.
To cut granite perfectly, precisely, carry it over, build a temple, not just using granite, but using rose quartz crystal. Their knowledge of crystals, proved that there was a function. So these temples were functional. For sure. They were very functional.
Very functional. Yeah. They're not just showcasing.
No. They weren't
architecture.
They weren't a tomb either.
No. For sure. Like you said, it's so functional, and there's so much intelligence and knowledge and wisdom behind it all.
Yeah.
And I get it. Why it's so romanticized is because there's a giant mystery aspect to it all. Of course, we're still trying to.
I think it's more simple than anything. And again, when you look at this, just the consciousness difference and the time that they were built compared to how we're seeing life now, it's two different perspectives. So I think it's romanticized because we can't fathom. And I know there's this running narrative that aliens built the pyramids. Again, I'm just going to say this confidently on record. I'm happy to be wrong, but it's humans that built all of that. But there were humans that were functioning in a whole different way than what we can even fathom.
Think about. Yeah, right.
These were humans that were tapped in. They were connected. They were literally one with everything around them, right? They weren't perfect. I also don't want to feel like these were like perfect. I think they still had the same social problems we had and everything, but their spirituality was so advanced. Their knowledge on how to work the unseen realms and bring them to the scene was way higher than what we had now. And I think there's a purpose to that. It's just the cycles.
Cycles, I agree. And would you say that, those people had the awareness or the ability to connect with their soul? Like you said, that it's like one soul is there, each soul.
Yes.
So on that note, and then we'll bring it home after this. I know you got to get going, but while we're here. So they have the ability to tap into one's soul.
Yes. I wouldn't even say they tap into.
They are the soul.
I love that you said this. So according to ancient African spirituality, and when I say African spirituality, there are many tribes, there are many sects, there are many different, but it wasn't as separate, like there wasn't as much separations. Like for instance, if a king was coronated in Egypt, many different tribes, right, like honored that pharaoh as the leader of the entire, let's say the continent, right? You remember the scene in Black Panther? Have you ever watched Black Panther?
Yeah.
You remember the first one where they had to fight to see who was going to be the Black Panther?
Right.
But the many different tribes that acknowledge that's how it was. That's how it was. It's like there was a pharaoh that ruled, right? And created harmony between the many diverse groups. The reason I'm sharing is because there was a unified view of spirituality, which today, the human, most of the time, is seen as the first person. When they looked at an individual, it was always the soul first. It was always the soul, right? So when I'm talking, they're talking to the soul. All their writing, a lot of us think that they're talking about the individual. For instance, one of the misunderstandings, so you've heard of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, right? Even the title is a mistranslation. It's the book of coming forth by day, or coming forth by light, right? So a lot of the times in that book, they talk about like the underworld. When you're solely thinking of or looking at it from the perspective of like the human, you think they're talking about hell. But when you understand it through the perspective of the soul, they're talking about earth. So the underworld is earth to the soul that had to descend from its omnipotent, limitless nature and die to itself to incarnate on earth. So the book or the stories were about the soul's journey to the physical realm and back to the realm it came from. It was always the soul first.
So cool.
It was always that.
On that note, while we're here, it's always the soul first.
Always.
And in today's world, today's society, we're so disconnected from that, from the soul. Sometimes people are like, what are you talking about? Austin here, we're pretty fortunate. A lot of people are.
So some of it is extreme here.
Right. And, we just talked about the translations of words and how words are not fully understood, comprehended. And the word psychedelic, soul revealing. A lot of people don't know that. But that's what psychedelic means. Some people, it triggers them. They hear psychedelic. Oh,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, soul revealing.
Wow.
So once you hear that, how do you see psychedelics playing their role in this unfolding of the soul revealing itself?
I've been fortunate to just be led in a very healthy and safe way towards what I like to call the plant allies. That supported me in my own evolution and growth. My introduction to psychedelics or soul revealing agents started in, let's say, like 7 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And what it did was, for me, it just brought my attention, awareness to things that were still in the background to me. they were still literally in the background.
Mm-hmm.
As it relates to the soul being revealed, the things that are in the background are what are in the way of operating from your soul.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like to look at things as like a onion.
Mm-hmm. Layers.
Or like those multicolored jawbreakers, right? It's like the Russian dolls.
Yeah.
It's like the Russian dolls.
Russian doll's a good one. Yeah. Layers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different identities. What is this? Yeah. Programs.
Yes. So I look at my two girls, and it's just a reminder that they're just they're a soul.
Their soul. Yeah.
They are a soul. Right. Innocent.
Yeah.
Childlike, not childish, childlike.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in awe. They're still childish because they're developing, but they're in awe. They're in wonder. They're in curiosity. They're developing their resilience, adaptability, play, joy, right? That's how we were born. We were born present. There was no need to get present because you were just present.
Yeah.
Right? We were born whole. Yeah. And then somewhere along the line, right? Based on however life played out for you or you experienced, you learned, or it was reflected back to you, or you interpreted that there was something wrong or there was something off. Most of the time it's about you. As children, because we are egocentric as a part of our development, like, there's no separation yet between us and our environment. So we take responsibility for everything.
Wow.
So for instance, when I was 4 years old and my mother and father separated, as a 4-year-old boy, I said these words to my father. I said, I remember they were having a disagreement. Mom came out saying, your dad's leaving. And because I was so charged up and I didn't want my dad to leave, I said, if you leave, I'm going to hate you. What do I know about hate at 4 years old? Probably nothing. But that was my plea to try to get him to stay. Now at 4, I was very direct. Children are direct. So most people don't like children because they're honest. They will tell you what they feel, straight up. So I was direct and he left. Right? By the way, I'm speaking from my 4-year-old perspective.
Right.
He left me. If he left me, it must be because of what I said. Oh, what I said caused him to leave. My words cause pain. My words cause people to leave. There must be something wrong with my words. I'm not enough for my dad to leave. So you start to see these beliefs form because at 4 years old, I also don't have the knowledge to think, oh, my mom and dad are having a disagreement and, he's leaving because it's not working out between them. No, what I say is, oh, I must have caused that. My words might have did that. So I take responsibility for his departure when it had nothing to do with me. But in that moment, I start to decide that, oh, if there's something wrong with my words or my words cause pain and hurt, right, which were directly from my heart, let me start to hide that. That's when I start fragmenting pieces of my soul.
Right. The layers start coming on top of the soul, of like the Russian doll.
I literally begin to start abandoning parts of myself because I start to see that, well, if my full, whole, present, soulful self is not accepted and is rejected by my caregivers, those that I'm fully dependent on, then if it's not enough for them, it's not enough for me. So nope. But simultaneously, that's also my own departure from, or my own departure to my curriculum.
Right. That starts the journey.
So from the perspective of just the human, the survival aspect of us, it's the wound.
Right.
But the spiritual perspective is the wound starts the journey.
Right. That's why we're here. It's so ironic.
The wound starts the journey. So obviously that was a part of,
the The soul knew it was coming here for this is what yeah.
And that cascade and compounded, I mean, there's so much stuff into that. But like I hid my words. I was not direct. I became a people pleaser. I mean, like that event, or at least one of that amongst many events, caused me to start to dim my soul.
Right. I get it.
Like literally keep that down, keep that suppressed. Because if I were to be real and direct again, people might leave.
Right.
Right. Love might leave. God might leave.
Wow.
So here I am now, departed from a part of my soul. And eventually I get to a place where I begin to explore things outside of kind of like what was typically introduced to me. And by way of that, years later, you know, I find, or psychedelics find me. And it was actually like in a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And this is after years of
Vipassana?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Was that yeah. No, it actually wasn't no, it was actually no, was it 5? No, it wasn't a Vipassana. Vipassana was later. This was like you familiar with Michael Bernard Beckwith?
Yeah.
Yep. So when we used to go to Agape, it was a
cool, yeah,
silent retreat for his congregation. I think it was 5 days.
Cool.
And at this point, I've done the work, the typical work that is considered the work in the personal development space, the books, the mentors, the seminars, the whole 9 yards. And at the end of the silent meditation retreat, there was a, third generation Quechuan shaman from Peru that showed up, and he was closing the ceremony. And I remember just feeling something visceral deep within me. It wasn't even, he just closed the ceremony and he played the drums. And I always tell this story because I don't even think it was just my introduction to psychedelics and him. It was the drum. And the drum is something that's very deep in my culture. Very, like it's like it woke up something in me.
Makes sense. There's a lot there.
Yeah. But psychedelics, I believe, and I have to say this as well, at this point in this stage, as we're navigating just being able to regulate not just the usage, but the access and the safety of it. Everyone's not for psychedelics, but psychedelics can be for everyone.
I love that.
It's a plant.
Yeah.
But everyone's not for it.
Right.
But to your question, it's put me in flexible states where it's able to help me reveal a lot of the layers of the Russian doll that is causing me, or that has caused me to forget who I am, which is the soul. So again, the layers is there's a self that I'm presenting the world, which oftentimes, if I'm unaware, is a persona or a mask that I think I am. And then behind that is the ego self, which is the survival self, which is a very necessary aspect of our existence here on earth. There is no sense of the I, and I think you need an I to know who you are on some level right? But the discernment is not to be controlled by it or not to serve it. And then there is the unconscious mind, which most people, again, don't really know, but it's running everything.
Right.
That's the program in the background that we really don't have access to, because consciously at this level, we can only handle about maybe 4, 5, 6% of information or data, right? Consciously. So we only have access to a little bit of information. There's so much that's coming in, but it's in the background.
Right. The body and the subconscious is on it.
Yeah. And I think it's energetically beneficial for the unconscious to operate that way. So we don't have to, we would be unfunctional if we had to process all that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But that's also where the program was formed. This is the repressed wounds or the childhood imprints. There's so much around childhood that I think it's not spoken of, because that was the impetus. That was the catalyst. That was the soil that made us the adult that we are. And I mean, there's so much wisdom that points to childlike nature and the importance of that, right? So all of these layers were formed in a time where we were still unaware.
For sure.
And yet, all of that was, in my opinion, is a necessary journey to collect wisdom and move through the discomfort of being able to now have something to offer other people. So the revelation of what's in the way of what has been hindering my soul's expression has also been the gift that I've been able to offer the world.
Right.
And psychedelics have been a part of that for me. I always say this. There's this quote by Les Brown. He says that religious people are afraid of hell. Spiritual people have been there. And it was in these spaces with these plants that I was able to fully embrace parts of myself that I felt were unlovable. Like to look at my own darkness, to feel the depths of my shame, like literally my hell. I have stories, man. And then simultaneously know that there's still love available for me there. Like God was in those places. Like I remember vividly like feeling God is also here.
Yeah.
That's how, for me, like I was able to reintegrate and reconnect with my soul. And while I'm still like learning, while I'm still in it, I'm giving the soul the keys again. Soul's back in the driver's seat.
I love it.
You know? Yeah.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you for being you. Thank you for being an example. And thank you for being someone that actually inspires me. You know, I shared the other day, you inspire me to run, to be a better man, to show up, to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to share truth. So thank you for being you. For anybody that wants to connect with you or work with you or tap in or learn more, where do they go? What do they do?
I'm on Instagram at Samsons_strength. You find me there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, brother. It's
absolutely.
an honor.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Hope we do it again.
Of course. I would love to.
I love it.
Yeah,
awesome.
man. Thanks,
Thank you.
brother.
Thank you.